Hello, my name is Freddie O'Connell. I'm running for mayor of Nashville.
Thank you so much for being here. As you know, we're here at Tech Hill Commons. The Greater Nashville Technology Council has put together a morning of getting to know our candidates for mayor. So thanks for showing up and being here and for running. It's admirable. Anybody running for any kind of public office, and I know that's really important to you.
Yeah.
The question is, why are you running? And then why do you think a member of the tech community should vote for you?
So I'm running fundamentally because what I've been hearing as Nashville has kind of reached this point in our cycle of growth and looking at peer cities, and I hear concerns from Nashvillians across the county about cost of living, quality of life. I want everybody to stay. The city brought me back here specifically for a job in the technology industry, and it was at a time when our cost of living actually made that possible. And what I'm hearing now is people are thinking of leaving, and the reason I stayed was the people who are here. So I want everybody to stay, and we can do some things, and the mayor specifically can and should do some things to make it more possible for more people to stay. Now, why anyone in the technology community should want me to be mayor is I am literally a person coming out of the software and technology industry into the mayor's office. And this is, I think, very good news for the people of Nashville, because we know we can better leverage some technology to make the city more accessible, just overall user-friendly, and start to do things that smart cities around the country are doing. And I think it's really important to have familiarity with data, know how to manipulate data. I think actually being a programmer, but also understanding how to procure technology, how to manage people who are working on technology, involvement in systems thinking and project management. You know, I've been trained on Agile and all those kinds of things. And all of them add up to a really good set of skills, it turns out, for operating a city effectively and efficiently.
I think I heard, whether it was you or maybe someone else, I can't remember, but it would be great if the government was a little more user-friendly.
Yes.
I think, did you say that?
I did.
Yeah.
And so
that's what I'm hearing you say now.
Right.
As
And
well.
so to me, Metro should be the premier customer service organization. It's interesting because software isn't going to do that by default, but if we bolster a program like Hub Nashville, which you may be familiar with, it's sort of Metro's first effort to transition into a customer service organization. If you go to hub.nashville.gov, you'll find an entry point that lets you report anything from a pothole to a street light that's out to illegal dumping. And this is a really good system. Unfortunately, so often people find their tickets mysteriously closed. It's not yet made the turn into really great customer service experience for the people of the city. And there are many other ways to do that too. Some of them involve understanding who is in our city and taking advantage of the things we know about people to actually meet them where they are.
When we think about your vision for Nashville's future, especially through a lens of tech, what are some initiatives? I know you're talking about some of this right now, but what are some specific initiatives that you would love to lead Nashville with?
So imagine if your library card was also your bus fare, could let you check out a bike share bicycle, and was also your student ID, right? So you start middle school and suddenly you've got an ID or whatever, and you can sign up to ride the bus. There are so many things that unify the interaction with Metro, and I think that's a great example. Starting to transition that to people's phone or other smart devices to have an access point. And again, I'm not inventing a lot of this, but it's things that we've seen other cities do. We are trying to anticipate a future where Charlotte and MLK become a smart corridor in the city to take advantage of better signalization, right? We are woefully behind some of our peer cities in terms of thinking about a network of traffic management so that you don't pull up to one red light and it's red, and then you get to the next one and it's red, and instead traffic flows based on where people are actually in their cars, or responds to major pedestrian events like a Predators game when you know thousands of people are suddenly going to be crossing the street as pedestrians at one time, and how you adjust to that. It turns out people in the software industry think about the flow of data and network traffic and all those kinds of things all the time. And if we take some of those principles and apply them to the way a city is supposed to work, you get much better outcomes.
Right. It almost sounds like what you're describing is like a CTO, CEO, right? What other ideas are you thinking?
So the city should have that, and we've been there before in some ways. And I know we have a director of ITS, but I really think in some ways this is now looking also about the power of data, the power of networks. And I ultimately want a Nashville that can actually implement some of its own software or start to use what we've seen around the industry, APIs. We have a very underutilized open data portal that lets civic hacking happen. I mean, right here in this building, this is now going back years ago.
That's right. I remember being here for
Right?
that.
Those kinds of things produce really interesting ways for people to experience the city, especially now that so many residents have smartphones and other smart devices. We can do that user friendliness in some really interesting ways.
Something NTC here in this building, one of the things we're really passionate about is, hey, how do we make sure there's paths for everybody? No
Yep.
one gets left behind. We want to make sure we're diverse, we're inclusive. There's ways for people who want to work in this industry can find ways to do that. So when you think about making sure Nashville is diverse and inclusive in the tech industry?
So one of the most important principles is an organization called CS for All, which has had a relationship with the city in the past. But I remember years ago, I tried to convince the mayor's office to engage a couple of Code for America fellows, because I think a lot of times when you are a young person and you have some exposure to technology, it can inspire you in ways you didn't necessarily anticipate. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to be a programmer per se, but when you start to even see the applied interfaces, if you're going into music technology, where there's a whole bunch, there's a new frontier of the ability to create music and then, add video to it, and suddenly you can participate in social media in ways that you didn't anticipate. The opportunity to go viral for a young person is a very exciting thing. But I think fundamentally it's about attacking that digital divide and making sure that people have the same experience I had. I got to start programming when I was in second grade in Metro School's Encore program, and it led to a lifetime of opportunity. We need to make sure that we're at least offering those entry points everywhere from the elementary school level all the way up through high school, and then continuing into college with our local colleges and universities, having programming that either offers creating technology or applied technology.
It sounds like you're really looking forward to this possibility.
I couldn't be more excited to be here on a day where we're at the intersection of two of my favorite things, which is civics and technology.
Well, thank you, not only to you, but all of the folks running. It's an admirable effort. It's a lot of work. I can't imagine the amount of time it's going to take for all of you. But, hey, you're showing up, you're listening, you're sharing your ideas, and really appreciate that.
That's what it takes. It's mostly the work, but it's also the incredible opportunity to share ideas, which is so important as well.
Thanks for watching. This episode has been a production of Relationary Marketing in partnership with the Greater Nashville Technology Council.